You're not just joining any program. This isn't for everyone. If you're looking for an easy fix or magic formula, this isn't the place.
Hello, this is the Hack Hour Podcast, a show where it's all about helping real, everyday, hard-working remodelers learn the secrets to having it all in life and business. And now, here's your host, Mike Minges.
What if I told you that the strongest men in history, guys like Marcus Aurelius, Mandela, and Abraham Lincoln, didn't just conquer nations or change the world? The greatest accomplishment all these men had in common is that they learned how to master their emotions first, then think, and then take action. So look, stick around, because what you think you know about emotions and strength might just be what's holding you back. All right, welcome to the latest Hack Hour Podcast. This is episode 12. We are mastering emotions, a remodeler's guide to keeping your cool and running the show. Hey there, those of you in the trades, let me ask you this question. When was the last time you felt like you were ready to lose it? Maybe a client called at 10 p.m. because their dream bathroom grout just isn't the exact same color that they imagined at 2 a.m. on Pinterest a month ago, right? Hey, maybe one of your employees forgot for the 8th time to cover the floors before they started doing the drywall repair, and now you have mud and paint all over the client's brand new hardwood floors. Or maybe you came home late, tired, frustrated, agitated. You didn't know it, but your child dropped a Lego about a half hour ago, and you step on it, and man, suddenly you're just losing it, right? Your whole day is unraveled. Sound familiar? Look, if so, you're not alone. We all deal with emotions, and we all deal with them to varying degrees based off of what we've learned, right? And we also are dealing with how other people are dealing with their emotions. So here's the catch. If you don't learn to manage them, they'll manage you. And when you're the boss, that's a problem, because your crew, your clients, and your family are all looking to you to keep things together. You think about like Tom Brady with the Patriots, right? Not the best or most physically capable quarterback ever. However, what he is one of the best at is managing himself and his emotions. He stays calm and cool under pressure and executes. Even when things look like there's no way they could win, they come back and can pull it out at the end when things matter. And often what you'll find is the emotionally immature opponent of Tom's falls apart under pressure. The person who's younger, stronger, faster, right? Because that person doesn't know how to manage their emotions, they fall apart and then they lose. And people are shocked. They shouldn't be. Look, today this is what we're talking about, right? We're talking about emotions, how to handle yours, and to navigate everyone else's, and how to come out on top without burning bridges or ripping out your own hair. Look, this is true strength. Like passionate, strong men, leaders of wars, generals, those that just learn how to manage their emotions and keep going and can manage the emotions of others, they're the ones that achieve the amazing results. So let's cut to the chase, right? Why should you care about managing the emotions? Because they run everything. Think about it. Clients hire you because they feel confident that you can get the job done. Employees stay with you because they feel like you know what you're doing and they trust, right? Your wife, your spouse, right? They don't care how perfectly you miter that trim. They want to know, are you paying attention and not ignoring them when they talk to you? So here's the kicker, right? Most people, including adults, let emotions run their lives, and they don't realize it. See, they feel something, so they assume it's true, and they act on it without stopping to think. That's how a child does it. Right. So look, this is how a grown man ends up yelling at a delivery driver over a late shipment of a package, right? Or it's how they snap at their kids for asking, why is the sky blue? It's because they're already stressed and they don't know how to deal with their emotions, and then they explode. Now, let's not pretend we're immune, right? How many of us lost it on a client or employee and it immediately regretted? I know I have. I've reached my breaking point. And I can give you an example. Like years ago, I had an employee who just, it was like showing up on time was something that they just didn't do it almost on purpose, right? And I got to a point where I was stressed about a job in particular one week, and we had had a few delays that we shouldn't have. And that employee just, again, showed up late, and then the supplier had screwed up the order, and when this guy strolled in, I just let him have it, right? And it felt good for the first couple seconds, but you could see the guy just shut down, right? And I could tell he was going through his own emotional thing for the rest of the day. And so look, when the sparks are gone, and as he walked out the door, I recognized that the outburst at the moment wasn't 100% about him. It was about me also feeling stressed. And he just happened to trigger that again when he then was late, right? And that's when it hit me that, like, I have to learn to control my emotions. Not when I'm in a good place, but at all times. Because I'm steering the ship here. I'm managing multiple employees. We have crews. We have multiple jobs, multiple clients. And at all times, I need to have it under control. So, and if I don't, what's going to happen is that one employee, I may drive him away. I may not. But anyone who saw that interaction said, wow, Mike can't handle his stuff at times, right? Like, that's not the image that I want. I want to be known as, hey, we can count on these guys regardless of how messed up the situation gets. And we know that they're going to be stressed at times because things just, it's business. It's the way the world works. Things do not go 100% our way all the time. In fact, at least half of the time, it's not going the way we planned. So, let's just take a little detour and talk about something. I know emotions can be a tricky thing because as a man, you have them, but you ignore them, or you've been taught to ignore them, right? And don't get me wrong, like, there's a line. So, like, you want to be aware of emotions, and you don't want them to control you, but you want to get the signal from them and understand. And at the same time, you have to be compassionate to others, but then you have to be firm and direct. So, like, it gets complicated. It's not black and white. It's like a sea of gray. So, somewhere along the line, a lot of us picked up the idea that, right, emotions are weak. Another guy told us that. Our parents told us, whatever. Boys don't, whatever. Something was said, and, that being a real man meant just shoving it down, right? Ignoring them and just muscling through. And at times, that's the appropriate response, right? But not all the time. We have to learn to deal with them. Otherwise, they are going to explode on us. So, right, if you've lost your temper and done something silly, you realize, like, you snapped at a spouse, you flipped out on an employee, a client, and at the moment you might have felt strong, but did you get the result that you wanted? Most likely not. And if you did, that's not the way you want to go about getting the result in the future. So, like, the truth is, managing emotions and being aware of them, it's not a weakness, it's a strength. So, again, some of the greatest, most badass men in history, they were masters of their emotions. I mean, Marcus Aurelius, the emperor of Rome, right, running the most powerful empire on earth and dealing with wars, plagues, betrayals, and all kinds of chaos. And what does he do? he writes a book, Meditations, that's basically a guide to keeping your cool when everything's falling apart. His whole philosophy was about mastering your thoughts and emotions so that you could lead with wisdom and not ego. And on the side, if you don't have that book, you should get it, and you should keep it with you so you can refer back to it at times and recognize, like, no, this is what it means to be a strong leader, because is being able to control your own stuff. So, and he wasn't the only one, right? Like, you have Abraham Lincoln. I mean, he held and led the country together during a civil war, right? While half of the nation hated him and wanted to kill him. And he was a master at staying calm under pressure. And he had a presence about him. Look, there's Nelson Mandela. I mean, here's a guy spends 27 years in prison and comes out with enough emotional control to somehow become the president and lead his country now into peace instead of revenge. It's not necessarily what's important is the direction he went. It's just the fact that he could get out and become this amazing leader after all. How much anger did he probably have inside of him at different times, right? Or think about Teddy Roosevelt, right? He faced loss, he had illness, assassination attempts. But this guy, he kept charging forward with determination and grit, right? These weren't guys who avoided emotions. They welcomed them and they mastered them. You would never know it on the outside looking in, but these guys were like, yeah, bring on that feeling. That's cool. I got it. Sure, I should be feeling that. It doesn't mean I have to act that way, but I'm glad that I'm aware that I was feeling or am feeling that way. So the idea that real men don't feel, right, it's garbage. The strongest men in history have understood emotions are tools, and they didn't let their anger or fear drive their bus. And fear is a huge thing. Fear and anxiety runs so many people, right? So look, these guys all learned how to pause, process, and then act with purpose. Okay, think about that. They could pause with the emotion, the situation going around. They could process and look at the situation, and then they could act with a purpose. What was the outcome that they want? They're in control. Very interesting idea. So that's what leadership looks like. It's not blowing up. It's not shutting down. It's handling business with clarity and confidence. So look, let's not forget, it's not just about handling our emotions, right? As when you're running a remodeling business, man, you are managing emotions of everyone around you, right? And that's what these men were also great at, was reading and managing the emotions of others. See, a lot of times an employee or a client, they might not say everything that they're feeling, but you can start seeing by the way that they're acting, right? And we have to be able to understand, okay, this person is getting triggered, and that's okay that they're getting triggered. Let me help them calm and let me help them manage this emotional journey that they're on at the moment, right? So great leaders, they inspire people, right? And they can calm tensions, and you can make decisions that literally change the world, right? So again, this controlling this is not a weakness, it's a power. All right. So again, why does this matter to you as the remodeler, right? The business owner, the husband or dad. It's because the way you handle your emotions and the emotions of people around you sets the tone for everything, right? If you want to be the guy who leads, the guy people respect and trust, you've got to master this skill, okay? The stronger you are at managing, the stronger you'll be in every area of your life. So the next time you catch yourself saying, like, I don't have time for all this emotional stuff, just remember, what would a guy like Marcus Aurelius do? Now, think about it. These guys probably didn't have the time either, but they knew that it mattered. And if it mattered for them, it sure as hell matters for you. So let's think about our emotions just for a moment. Anyway, like, emotions are like the weather. They're always changing, and sometimes they catch you off guard. And here's the deal. Emotions aren't facts. Just because you feel angry or feel scared or anxious doesn't actually mean the world's falling apart. It just means your brain is sending you a signal, okay? And here's where most people screw up. They take that initial signal as the whole truth, and they act on it without asking, wait a minute, what's really going on here? Let me just let me pan out and look back a little more at this situation as a whole, right? And this is how grown adults end up acting like toddlers. And if you're an adult and act like a toddler, most likely that's what was demonstrated to you. So you don't know any better. However, you do know that you see other people that don't do it, and you might think that they're wrong or that they shouldn't be doing it that way. But the reality is, just because someone is physically an adult doesn't mean they're emotionally adult. And the people that are emotionally still children, they feel something, so they react. And usually it's a bad reaction and it goes badly. So let's say you got a client, right? They're freaking out because the countertop delivery is being delayed. They're at home all day, they're stressed out, their job's stressing them, their spouse stresses them out, their kids are stressing them out, and then you stress them out in their mind because you're late with the delivery. And then they snap, and then all this anger that they have from all these other avenues, they just send it in your direction, right? And they're like, why didn't you plan for this? Why did it do? Why do you have to hire this person? And they just go off. And that's when you know this person's having an emotional response. Best thing you can do is just say, and hear. Say nothing and just listen. But what we end up doing, right, is like, hey lady, look, I don't control the court supply chain, right? But here's the thing, again, their panic isn't about you, right? It's about them feeling out of control. Hey, cool, right? They're worried about their investment, their timeline, their dream kitchen. And if you react emotionally like snapping back, you're just adding fuel to the fire. But if you stay calm and guide them through it, you become the hero. And look, this doesn't just happen to clients. Your employees have emotions too. Maybe that guy who showed up late isn't lazy. Maybe he's dealing with some personal stuff and he doesn't know how to talk about it. So your job as a leader is to understand what's really going on and respond in a way that gets the best out of people, not the worst. Right? So for me, if we backtrack into that one situation where I lost it on a guy who came late, the best thing I could have done was recognize that I'm pissed at him in the moment and I'm pissed at a bunch of other things that are happening, and figure out a way to pull that person aside. Or what I should have done was had my project manager take him aside and talk to him and say, like, what is going on with Bill? Why is he late again? Right? When you have another thing to think about as a remodeler, if you have multiple employees on a job site, this stuff, it's like, it's wildfire. Think about this. If any of you have more than one dog, all right, let's say you get one dog, like one of these little yapper dogs, right, and it runs around the house and, it's barking a lot and it barks, and the dog just barks, right? It doesn't know, it just barks. But you can often calm the one dog down by letting them know everything's fine, no need to bark, and the dog calms down. Now, you get two of those little yapper type dogs and they're running around the house. The one starts yapping, so the other one thinks, oh, I need to yap too because this one's yapping. So then they're both just yapping, and it's a ton of yapping all the time, and they're both losing their stuff and they're yapping, and it's much harder to calm either of them down, right? Because the one emotional dog feeds off the other emotional dog. Now you got two emotional dogs and there's just one of you, and they're like, well, we're doing it because it's... You see what ends up happening? So managing teams and clients when it's multiples can get more challenging, especially if they're around each other a lot, right? And so be aware of that and understand and recognize which team member, like if it's multiple, which employee do you need to be addressing first? Who's like the kind of the leader of the group? Who's the person that if you can get that person's emotions under control, the others will fall in line. Same comes to clients, especially when there's spouses, right? So Figure out which spouse is kind of the leader of the family when it comes to like emotions and attitudes, and work with that person first. Help get that person under control. Then the other spouse will get in line as well. So these things, guys, will make your job so much easier. You don't have to ride these emotional roller coasters. So let's talk about how you actually handle emotions, yours and everyone else's. So, like, here's a really simple 3-step framework. It's simple, it's effective, it won't make you feel like you're reading a silly self-help book. First, look, just pause and process. That's it. When an emotion hits, don't react. Seriously, take a beat. Count to 5 if you have to. Ask yourself, okay, cool, I'm feeling something. That's interesting. What am I really feeling and why? 9 times out of 10, it's not about the actual thing that's in front of you. It's connected. It's about something else deeper that's happened, right? And you have to ask yourself, wait a minute, am I mad because the supplier is late? Or am I mad because I'm afraid the delay will mess up the schedule and cost me money? Am I mad because I didn't order it on time, and so now it's showing up when it should have, based off of the time that I ordered it, which was I was late. So now they're technically late, but it's not their fault. It was my fault, and I want to blame them. Like, you got to go a little deeper and understand how you're playing a part possibly in the situation. Or was a supplier late in the past, and then the whole job just went to and fell apart? Was it a disaster? And now all of a sudden is your mind going, whoa, whoa, you remember the last time this happened, and that client just went off the deep end, like, and now you're bracing for that. So it's okay. You have a problem. You say to yourself, that's interesting. What am I feeling about this problem? Before you do anything, right? Pause and process it. Okay? Get to the root of it before you act. And this it's like working out a muscle. It's going to take several reps and several sessions before you get the strength to be able to actually do it in real time. Okay. Second thing is this is a challenge for some of you, I know. You got to label the emotion, right? Name it. What is it exactly? And for some of you, you might find this helpful. You can get an emotional chart wheel. It's like an emotional color wheel. And it's got like 100 different emotions. And you can like pull that out or research it on your phone real quick and go, okay, so I'm frustrated. Or am I anxious? Or wait a minute, am I embarrassed because I messed up? Like, what is it? Name the feeling. And this takes a lot of the power out of it, because it's like saying, oh, I get it. I see you. Frustration. Thanks for showing up. Now, sit down, chill out. I got work to do. Right? When you label that emotion, you can create a space between having the feeling and your reaction. It doesn't control you. You control it. You're like, hey, that's great. I'm glad I'm feeling that, but I'm not going to act on it. I'm not doing that right now. I got other crap I need to take care of. Okay, so we've processed and paused, right? And then we've labeled it. So now it's you respond, you don't react. There's a difference, right? There's responding and then there's reacting. So finally, what you do is you actually think about the outcome you want. Do you want your client to feel reassured or more panicked? Do you want your employee to feel motivated or shut down, pissed off, hating their life, hating the job? Choose your words and actions based on the result you're aiming for, not what feels good in the heat of the moment. Look, and this is really important too for those of you in relationships like family members, spouses, kids. Think before you go off on someone or talk to them, ask yourself, wait a minute, what do I want long term in this situation? What would be the ideal place that this situation gets to, right? What's the result that I want? And then ask yourself, okay, so what response is the most likely one that will get me and the person I'm talking to that place? And that, when you get to that place and you can start connecting the dots, life becomes much more enjoyable. So I'll give you another example from me personally. A few years ago, we had a client and she melted down, literally, over a delay on their remodel. And they were pacing and yelling and demanding answers. And some of you can probably see this person. You probably witnessed this. This person had a big, great room, and we were working on building an addition off to the side, and she's just walking in this big room and storming, and had the phone, and is just yelling and look, the old me at the time wanted to kind of snap back or try to dodge the responsibility, but instead, it was interesting. I had learned some of these things. Now, this was the most charged person I had to try this with, and I was nervous. But what ended up happening is this. Instead of me being charged like she was, I said, wow, this is interesting. Look at how she's acting. And I said to myself, I paused. I looked her square and direct. And I said, I get it. Yeah, you're upset. And you have every right to be. Let's talk about what we can do to fix this. And just like that, it was like somebody took a knife and cut the tension in that room. The energy shifted. And you could just see the frustration in her face, the way her shoulders were up, the way she was gripping her hands. She just melted and relaxed. And they went from yelling to being able to have a problem-solving conversation with me because I stayed calm and I gave this situation, where we were, I gave it a way to move forward. And that is the power of managing emotions. So, guys, I would often, and you get to run your business the way you want, but I often, when I was selling jobs, I would pass on jobs with prospective clients sometimes because I could tell right off the bat they would not be a good emotional fit, and maybe the project manager that I was thinking would be best for that project initially, I was like, man, I don't know if it's right to put them in that situation where they're going to have to deal with this person, right? When I would be filtering our prospects, I would see, is this person someone who's reasonable and we can work with? And at times, you'll come across someone who's so highly charged and so highly emotional that the amount of energy and skill that it would take to navigate a person that goes through life that way, you may decide it might not be worth it and you can just move on. You don't have to take that job. But the skills that we're talking about here, they will help you navigate through the majority of people that are out there. Just understand that every now and then you are going to come across someone and you'll start to recognize the signs pretty quickly. And you can say, the scope of work that is looking at here, most likely this is the project manager that would be handling, that's the crew that would be here. Are they emotionally capable of handling and dealing with this person? If so, good, let's move forward. We got it. And if not, maybe you pass on that job. So at the end of the day, life is short and business is already challenging enough. And the remodeling business is amazingly rewarding. It's an incredible business to be in. You just stop making it harder for yourself when it's unnecessary, right? Find the best people to work with, the ones that work well with your personality style, and the personality style, they match well with your carpenters and your project managers and your crews, right? Make it easy for everyone involved. So, what happens if you actually get all this right? Well, here's what changes. Your clients trust you more because you're steady and professional, and they count on that. We inherently people look for strength, and they want to be around others that they know, hey, I can trust that person. They got their stuff together. They're going to get through this. I can trust them, and I trust them to help me get through it maybe when I'm struggling. That's what you want the client to be saying about you. And your employees will respect you because you now are leading from a place of fairness, right? Not anger. You understand that, hey, everybody has days. Everyone gets emotional. And you recognize that. And then you're able to sit down and talk with the person and have a good conversation where you figure out, like, how are we going to manage this going forward, guys? Right? This is the outcome that we would like. How do we get there? And that's the adult way of doing it. And with your family, when you manage your emotions, they'll just enjoy being around you because they're like, man, you know, Dad's present. He's calm. He's supportive. You know, he's not on me. He's not riding me all day long. He's not yelling. He's not exploding. You know, I'm not scared. I don't have to tiptoe around Dad. He'll joke and say, man, that sounds like it was tough. Sorry to hear that. Instead of yelling at him, saying, you never should have done that. I can't believe you did that. Right? That stuff, let that stuff go. Be there for your family. So, at the end of the day, look, nobody's perfect at this. We're all, you, me, we're all going to have moments where we, lose our cool. We're human. But if you commit to pausing, processing, and responding, you'll build better relationships and run a smoother business. And honestly, you'll enjoy life more. And that's what this is all about. So, before we wrap this up, let's talk about the fact that, like, you're a remodeler. And you're not just in the business of swing and hammer. You're in the business of survival, right? And the odds are stacked against you. Statistically, 50% of remodeling businesses won't make it past 5 years. So think about how many years you've been in business. What are your chances, right? 75% won't see their 7th anniversary. So the reality is that it's tough to run a remodeling business, especially if you don't have all the right tools. And what we're talking about here is like having processes and having the back end. You got into the business because you're probably an amazing technician, carpenter out in the field, right? You're really good with your skill set. But it's running the business that is what's going to get you through the long haul. And that's the skills that a lot of guys need help with. And that's why so many remodelers don't make it, right? Most contractors, guys, think that being a great, remodeler or craftsman out in the field is enough. They'll just work their way through it. I'll just sell more jobs. Newsflash, it's not. Being a business owner is a completely different game than working for a wage as a remodeler, right? You have to master the art and science of running a business, managing people, creating and managing and following schedules, getting a handle on your finances, understanding your marketing plan, and, your emotions as well. So if you don't, well, the job site graveyard is full of guys who are great with their hands, but just didn't know how to run with the show, and they're just bitter and frustrated, tired, and poor. So here's the good news. You don't have to figure it out all on your own, and that's where we come in, right? At the Remodeling Academy, we literally are just changing the world of remodeling by giving you everything you need, not to just survive, but to thrive, right? We're talking about all the systems, the frameworks, the back-end solutions that most contractors, honestly, they don't stay in business long enough to even develop good ones at that. We've been there. We've been through the hurdles, the challenges, and we've built the tools, right? The systems, the frameworks, and we've tested them. And they've been proven to work. They've been refined. And they're ready for you to just plug in and use, right? So think about this. Like, we have them. You need them. You just need to take ours and go. With your business. So think about it. What if you didn't have to guess how to make this business of yours work every day, right? What if you didn't have to learn everything the hard way? And what if you had the playbook to build this successful remodeling business that runs smoothly, grows steadily, and puts money in your pocket without like those 3 a.m. panic attacks, waking up in the middle of the night, not sure you're going to survive the next few months, right? Because the truth is, it's a crap shoot out there. It really is. You can roll the dice, you can hope for the best, or you can work with us. You can join the best and stack the deck in your favor. The Remodeling Academy, we just don't teach you how to remodel better. We teach you how to build a business that can handle anything, right? From the sales, the scheduling, marketing, the mindset. We give you the tools to succeed. So if you're tired of running on the fumes and you're ready to build something that lasts, we're here for you. Visit us at the Remodeling Academy. Join our affiliate program where you become one of the successful guys, okay? We're not just changing the way you work. We're changing the way you win at the remodeling game, okay? That's it for today. Remember, emotions are tools, not traps. Use them wisely. Lead with clarity. And build the life and business you've wanted and that you deserve. If you are the type of person that was willing to take the chance and the risk and the responsibility of putting a remodeling business on your back, well, get yourself equipped and be strong enough to survive and thrive. So until next time, keep your cool, keep learning, and keep building your empire. And we all look forward to seeing all of you out there being successful.
Thank you for listening to the Hack Hour podcast. It would be awesome if you would leave us a quick review on iTunes. To further your remodeling success, go to remodelingriches.com.